welcome to Identity Connect. Can we get a little room going? So we will be talking about fast-forward fashion, everything fashion, the future of fashion, and tech, the new way of fashion.
Hi, my name is Pastor Ashley Straker. I'm the program lead at the Powerbase Institute Young Genius program. And the Young Genius program was something that we created to allow us to focus on creating students that are architects of the future. We empower our students to function as catalysts for change and become next generational leaders. So the impact of this program is we noticed that the education system is extremely outdated, something that was created in the 1800s for a world that no longer exists and is unable to equip students for the future world to come. So we created the Young Genius program that has an enriching curriculum. It teaches students things around leadership, entrepreneurship, and through this we allowed ourselves to see that this is actually what students and children needed for the world to come. So we've seen students like our 15-year-old that's been with us go through the program, coming from not having great GCSEs, not being a very confident individual, now being someone that is able to code, someone that was able to intern in a leading disruptive tech company, and also becoming a leader in his own right. Another one of our students that were part of the program came not having necessarily great perspectives in life of where they wanted to go. And this individual went on to work in a marketing company for a multi-billion hedge fund and is a leader in their own right. So we've seen many students that we've gone through in the past 2 years, over 300 students that we've been able to teach, go through our program, and we've seen as something that is very important and very much needed in today's society. So you can connect with us on LinkedIn. So the Powerbase Institute, we post a lot of articles talking about education and social injustice, so you can follow us there. You can also get us on Instagram on the Powerbase Institute, where we share a lot of posts of what we're doing and our events. You can also go on our website, the Powerbase Foundation, and look up our initiatives, the Nakatech Academy and the Power Queens. If you're also interested in Young Genius program and you want your child to be involved, you can email us at info@thepowerinstitute.com. Happening in the education system and how it's so archaic.
Yeah.
So we can look at education in the past and see that it's not actually progressed and changed.
The time and attention they took in the classroom to make sure, every student understands what's happening.
Yeah.
Those that are behind are being able to catch up. Even just simply believing in you,
When we first started off, I was actually working full time. And then that changed into working on the business full time. And we were able to make around £40,000 in the first 2-3 months.
Every month there is a minimum of £250,000 revenue generated. I was trying to teach some of the business people a few days ago that I don't want to just see your intensity. Because intensity without a consistent approach is just as useless. And I told them that people don't trust intense people.
I speak with the women around me, one-on-one, privately. Many of you guys have been to my home, or we've sat together, we've spoken, and there's these gentle conversations, but I just don't think they're intentional enough. So my intention for 2023 is to host one of these a month, introduce my network of women all around together, and to just talk about money unapologetically so much until somebody from this table turns over millions. I believe that so much so because I've done it over and over and over again. I think many of you guys have been with me across different journeys. I think Nancy, you knew me when I had a mentoring program. And you've seen me build a small mentoring program to have, boutiques in Knightsbridge. I'm tired. And that's why I decided that we should all meet together and, grow this table and keep talking. So I'm Yay! That's all right. Let's eat. Love it. Let's
As you can see, we're doing things a little bit differently. We are live from the Powerbase Institute HQ. Now, for those that don't know who I am, my name is Daniela, and I'm just here to welcome you to today's service and walk you through a few announcements that we have as a family. Now, as you know, the Nation family has the Wild Service coming up on the 26th of March, and as a family, we have been able to register 2,800 registrations, new and existing members of the family, okay? However, the Nation family wants to reach a 3,000 registration mark. We're just shy of 200 people, which is why the Powerbase family has taken the mandate to close that 200 mark, right? So what have we been doing as a family since Sunday, since it was announced last week Sunday? We have actually been family on a canvassing campaign. That means that we have validated existing souls and we are canvassing brand new souls. The Powerbase's Mobilisation call center has been active all week. We have been on fire. And as a family, we have been putting on various initiatives towards our target. Okay, so we're going to get into what we have been doing as a family in a little while. But before we get into it, sit back and watch this very brief video, and I'll be with you very shortly.
Praise and worship, seed and service, all of those intertwined, one missing, it ain't working. Had a fight with God about seeing him in person. Said he showed me his past, they gon' hurt, but you confirm it. Hey, Emmy on the polo, chocolate AP like Rolo. You only live once like YOLO. Used to be Cali in the scrunchie, nice Cali munchie, all up in the middle of my tummy. Pull up in the GLE, 100 in the Carnegie, more seat than Jimmy C. Walk speed, the spirit D, blocking depression. I praise to affirm my progression. Oh God, no agendas, no idols, no deception. Too clean, too fresh when I'm stepping. I get my scent from the CF night shield by the entrance while the women of the sea stepping. They look Nutribox, and that's healthy in a sentence. I'm everyday people.
journey. By His grace I have been set free, 'cause I'm everyday people. See, I'm everyday people. I don't need to be perfect, sing it. I don't need to be perfect.
Okay, welcome back, family. I hope you enjoyed that video. Okay, so as you can see here, I am joined by one of our young genius leaders, Pastor Zainab, who is also the founder of Studio 5. Now, Pastor Zainab has been absolutely instrumental towards the drive towards our Wild campaign. She has been not only helping to produce some of our campaign content, but also gathering people and mobilizing as well. So, before we actually get into all our wins and what we've been up to as a family, I actually want Pastor Zainab to walk us through, actually to talk a bit more about herself and a bit more about her journey.
Hi everyone. So yeah, I started the Nation when I was 18. So I've been here for 5 years now. I came in through the Powerbase Institute. It was actually called Surrey Keys at that time. I came in and I went under leadership through Pastor Dami. And since then, I've literally been serving in the media department throughout these 5 years, creating that content that needs to be created, to now owning my own community called Studio 5. And yeah, that's me so far.
Okay, so you just mentioned Studio 5.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit more about the vision. Why did that come about? And what is it that you're actually aiming to get out of Studio 5?
So I went to film school and I studied film production, and I noticed a lot of gaps that were there. Things like, you know, learning certain systems in the industry that are useful to get a job or to actually get a space in that world. And I realized that it was an issue, so I thought, okay, I need to create something that will allow people like myself who are just finishing uni or who have spent loads of money to go to film school, or, you know, they haven't had any education in that, but they want to know how it works and how to get in. So that's why Studio 5 was launched. It's literally a community for young creatives. When I mean creatives, I mean specifically production, who actually want to gain that experience and build their portfolio. So I created that system where it's like also a mobilization tool. For example, the Cali launch, we will talk about that soon. We had a whole film crew that came through Studio 5 to come and film the event.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
That's
so
incredible.
it's a great tool for me, and it just allows them to build their portfolio with, you know, an amazing family like ourselves. So yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to just take your time with this one a little bit. But you mentioned that, you know, through leadership, you have been able to birth, so shall we say, Studio 5. What are some of the skill sets or leadership skill sets, right, that you have seen from the family that you are now trying to exemplify or bring forth into Studio 5?
I would definitely say solving problems, seeing what people are asking for and being that solution. That's definitely something I've learned through leadership and observed through, you know, Pastor Damin leading myself. And I noticed that that's something that people are looking for. And once you find that person that can solve those problems, it helps you to help somebody else. So that's definitely one thing I would say that I've learned from leadership.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I mean, you're not a young genius leader for no reason, right? You have gone through your training and now you're here. And I think it's incredible, and just congratulations first and foremost for Studio 5, and I can't wait to see what else you guys actually are able to produce. And with that, you did mention Kali Munchie, which is why I think it would be great for you to kind of let us know a few things that we have been up to as a family.
This week has been amazing. Powerbase have been on fire to mobilize to reach our target for Wild Service in March the 26th. For example, we had Howard University come over. 88 students were hosted by us.
I was there.
Through Pastor Ashley, you know, we did a whole day teaching them, educating them, and giving them some inspiration through the businesses in-house. And of course, we had the YGLs, which is the Young Genius Leaders, which is myself and other young people in Powerbase. We literally took over Guildford. So we started a community at Surrey, and we started off in Guildford, and we had over 25 people who came, and literally we gave them some creams and we spoke to them, we inspired them and just let them know we're here to build that community that they don't have. A lot of them mentioned that, you know, we don't have that here. They were very surprised, like, why are you guys doing this? And we're like, no, we're doing this because we've seen a gap. Like I mentioned, through leadership, I've learnt to solve that problem. That was a problem we noticed when we moved in this area in Surrey, and we thought, no, we are going to create that community that they need. So,
And you'll be doing much more now with that community.
Definitely, yeah,
That's
definitely,
awesome. I
yeah.
think it's amazing that they actually get to see other fellow young leaders in this area who they've never encountered before. So I can't wait to see more of that. And in also Kalimanchi, right, which happened just yesterday.
great,
so
yeah.
tell us a bit more about that.
So Kalimanchi had their restaurant launch yesterday evening. It was a great experience. I loved it. We had exclusive guest lists from food bloggers and vloggers to influencers to business owners. It was amazing. Great music. We even had a performer who was dancing there as well. It was very inspiring, and I just can't wait to continuously see how it's going to go. It was great fun. I enjoyed it. I personally enjoyed it. As I mentioned, Studio 5 crew came and filmed. They had a great time as well. And it was just amazing. Yeah.
I can't wait to see what you've been able to produce with Studio 5. Okay, I think this is...
so we had the call center as well.
And the call center.
Yeah, we've been having a very good week. Powerbase have been on it this week. So we also had a call center this week, which has been happening consistently each day, where house leaders and families in Powerbase will gather together and do the calls. So we're checking past members that we've invited to from past events, to new people that we've been speaking to this week as well. We've just been making sure that we're confirming registrations to hit that target. So that's definitely something that's been happening in Powerbase. Yeah.
As I said, family, we are on a canvassing campaign,
Yes,
meaning
we
we are validating existing souls and canvassing brand new souls. So that's all that we have been up to as a family, and it's only the past week and yesterday as well. But before we kind of get into what we have up next for you, I think it'd be interesting for us to kind of go through the numbers that we have for registrations.
Yeah, sure.
We do have some international registrations as well. We have around 145 members registered from Cameroon, which is awesome.
Yep,
We
yep.
also have around over 10 registrations coming from Russia. And so many more from different nations. We've got Belgium, France, Brazil, Dubai, Nigeria, you name it, we've got registrations there, which is incredible. And that's on top of our UK-based registrations as well. So that's it from us. However, we are moving on to something special, which we have been planning for the past few weeks. The Powerbase is on a 14-day countdown towards Wild Service. And so up next, you've got something special, which is our Wild campaign video, which will be shown here for the first time. So sit back, enjoy it, and enjoy the rest of the service. Thank you.
Thank you.
Throughout history, women have faced numerous obstacles and challenges in their quest for leadership. From the denial of education and voting rights, to the persistence of gender-based violence and discrimination. The road to the attainment of leadership has been long and arduous, but despite these challenges, women have continued to break barriers and make progress in every sphere of society. In the early 20th century, women began to organize and fight for their rights. The suffrage movement, led by the fearless women like Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, paved the way for women's right to vote. As women gained more rights and opportunities, they began to break into previously male-dominated fields. In the 1960s and 1970s, women poured into the workforce in record numbers, challenging traditional gender roles and proving that they were capable of success in any field. Today, women hold a wide variety of leadership positions, from CEOs to economists, and are breaking barriers in industries such as science, politics, creativity, education, finance, and technology. Despite the challenges faced throughout the years, women continue to push forward, inspiring future generations and affecting change. Through their fight, women are transforming society, breaking down barriers and creating a world where everyone has the opportunity to succeed. The evolution of women in society is a story of resilience, determination, and progress to inspire and influence future generations to join the fight and strive to become the world's next leaders.
Being a woman in 2023 for me is all about
living out of your mind, actually facing challenges head on.
To just embrace her own self, to be unique, find something that's different and sell that and be proud of that.
you're not limited to anything, that you will persevere regardless of what you're facing. I think we're in an age where being a woman, you have so many options and opportunities around you that you just kind of have to go for it.
So to be a woman in 2023 means that you have complete confidence in who you are, your uniqueness, and what you have to bring to it.
It means to me to have a strong sense of identity. Like you said before, I'm a wife, I'm a business owner, and I'm a mother.
Really pushing the boundaries. I think this generation, we've had more rights for women than we've ever had, ever.
To be a woman in my industry, it means that you're constantly having to push boundaries. You're constantly having to prove yourself. Or I would walk into rooms where I would be the only female, the youngest person in the room, and have these people not acknowledge me, not even look at me in the eye.
Challenge I faced as a woman and how I overcame it. I would say believing in myself and pushing myself or putting myself out there when it comes to advancing myself in my career. Just being a little bit bolder and just seeing what I want to become and just going for it.
The biggest fight I had to overcome was fear. Fear is something that I had to constantly keep fighting. Fear has different dimensions, fear has different layers to it. So you have to always make sure that you're facing what is uncomfortable for you. It helps me to know what I need to do better.
It's a lot. When people list out the amount of things I do, sometimes I don't even know how many things I do in a day. But one thing that keeps me going is just having like a structure in my day. Because if I don't have that, that kind of throws me off. But yeah, it's a lot. My kids can be a lot, but I love them dearly. Just knowing how to balance everything, knowing how to have time for everything as well. Because sometimes doing business, you can get so sucked into doing business, especially when you're just like, it needs to go bigger, it needs to be out there. But then you have the kids to think about and thinking about their learning and thinking about how much they're growing and how much you don't want to miss from their growth.
I've been through an identity crisis before. I was a project manager and then I realized that I didn't want to do that anymore. So I went through like this journey of being really unsure about myself and what I wanted to do. But I think going on that journey, I discovered who I was and I discovered what I wanted to do.
I remember going to lunch with my mentor and he was actually like, what do you want to do, Ado? And I was like, I don't know. And then he said that was the best place to be. And I think that was the best advice he could have given me because I learned the things I hated, I learned the things I liked. That was basically how identity crisis was birthed. The name is being birthed from an identity crisis.
Yeah. I would say life starts at the end of an identity crisis.
100%.
Yeah.
So to be honest with you, I failed at so many different things. When I fail, it makes you feel inadequate, it makes you feel lonely, and sometimes it actually gets to a place where you start to look at other people and you feel jealous. But it's just knowing that regardless of what has happened, it's getting yourself out of that emotional state and pushing forward and just actually getting on with it until you actually, get it right. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Some of the challenges I faced as a leader, I think in the line of work that I'm in, definitely the underestimation of age, the fact that I'm a female. I thought it was a challenge when I was younger, and now I'm older, I see it as an advantage.
I would say the biggest fight I've had to overcome is myself. Being courageous enough to really go for my vision. And I think what's helped me really grow is having the right type of people around me, pushing me and helping me really believe in what I believe in. I think that's the biggest fight that I've had to really deal with.
Hello to those in the studio with me. Hello, hello. Good, good. Thank you all for tuning in this afternoon for what will be a brief broadcast just to speak about our mobilization efforts as a family. So what I'll quickly do is welcome all the rest of the family members tuned in from around the world. I do appreciate that there are a number of different family members in Cameroon, Dubai, and of course Lagos, Nigeria, the Czech Republic. If you are tuning in, Russia, hope you're okay. Good to have you all with me this afternoon. It's been a very inspiring broadcast so far. Found the network? Is it all good? Yes, sir. All good in the network, yeah? Okay, thank you. So, of course, we had the Emergence title last week, Sunday, and we saw young leaders take the center stage for the family. Young leaders who've been trained in economic development and impact. And the moment I heard that title, Emergence, I knew it was the time for us to really blossom and shine. So, of course, it didn't take long for us as a family to transition, because straight away the next day on Monday we had an invitation from one of the most prestigious organizations in the world reach out to us. So congratulations and well done to Pastor Zainab, and also well done to the team, the Young Genius Leadership team headed by Pastor Ashley Straker. You did an amazing job this week, and we've been getting very positive feedback ever since then. So I've been getting a lot of emails and LinkedIn messages from the Americans acknowledging the impact of the work that we did in their lives. But you know, for me, it was the fact that it is linked directly to Pastor Toby's proclamation of emergence on the Sunday. I don't take that word for granted. The idea that you and I are sowing our seed in different arenas, in different spheres, putting effort into the ground, looking for the next generation of leaders to establish, looking for the next economic output, looking for the next targets to push. So it's been absolutely amazing. We saw the Institute, of course, host Howard University, HU, you know. So that was pretty fun. Then we've also seen the transition of the Kalimanchi family and the Alliance House. Yesterday, we saw the launch of the Bao Bon Spot in London. So that was a moment of pride personally for me, because we've seen the transition of Kalimanchi from just a street food business, and now they have not just evolved from street food, they've gone to Westfield. We saw them in Westfield last year. And I love the fact that they've been able to prove evolution over time. You know, evolution over time was demonstrated by the Kalimanchi and the Alliance House, most especially yesterday. So well done to you, the Identity Creates team and the Dominion House, and of course Light Tower and the Alpha House coming together to make it all happen was really good also. It's been great exploits this week, but my personal favorite, despite all those exploits, is the fact that we took on a mandate from last week Sunday, where we could see that there was a deficit of about 200 people that we're meant to work on to ensure we hit and surpass our overall target of 3,000 people. For those who are maybe just tuning in, we are gearing up for the Wild event on the 26th of March. It is the only event going on in London City in the UK, and actually around the world, because we'll be broadcasting to our satellite locations. And I loved the confirmation of the numbers by Minister Daniela, where I believe we had 145 people registered for Cameroon. We have 30 people registered in their separate watch parties in the different parts of the world. So 30 in Lagos, I believe 10 in Russia, 10 in Russia, 5 in Dubai, and a few other countries that Brazil, France. So there are all these different locations that we've got confirmation in terms of people who will be physically there. We are also planning to have some of them come over to join us on the 26th of March. So we are on a 14-day countdown, hence why we launched our Wild campaign today. So from today onwards, it is a non-stop effort to making sure that 3,000 people turn up on the 26th of March. Yes, that's all this is about. And the whole idea behind this is that we have a message for the world. A message that you and I encountered for those who are in the family. For those who are just tuning in, it is a message that I would sort of give you in a small dose this afternoon. And what I want you to do is stay glued to your screens, because much later today, or maybe within the next couple of hours, we are most likely going to hear from the founder and the pioneer of this work, my father, Pastor Toby. But make sure you're glued to this screen, because what I have experienced as a liberating message, what thousands of people around the world have experienced as a liberating message, is what we are going to package for London City on the 26th of March. The event is titled WILD. WILD stands for Women in Leadership Dimensions. For us, the fellas, winners in leadership dimensions. So what I want us to do is to also celebrate the emergence of Studio 5 as a community this week. Yes. I want to specifically celebrate that, because it is the journey, it's a 5-year journey of emergence. The journey of a Pastor Zainab, who, when she joined the house in Surrey Quays is a part of southern London, or South London, I should say. And it was in a very small room in Surrey Quays that was where this whole initiative was birthed. And a Zainab joined at the ripe old, but actually it's more at the age of 18. You met this house, you met the word, you met leadership. And I want to celebrate your evolution in service. This goes to all the young genius leaders around her, the rest of you that will be supporting the launch of this specific community, because it is designed to solve a problem for this generation. So we celebrate the emergence of the young genius leaders to their generation. That is what we are celebrating as we have a 2-week countdown. It is a women-led community. A Pastor Zainab joined at 18. You started serving, I believe, by holding the phone, yes, for periscopes that we used to use back then. Pastor Zainab grew from holding the camera to giving word charge. And you also graduated into leading us in prayer. We saw you're an ardent prayer. Everyone knows that you are an ardent prayer, and you must not lose that fire. We saw you lead not just the Surrey Quays Fellowship, but you led the whole nation in prayers on the Thursdays consistently. We saw your transition when you went to begin to serve again behind the camera with the Shepherd Media, the Shepherd family, which is one of the 12 families in the Nation family. You served there diligently, week in, week out. At the same time, leading our Young Genius program or fellowship program under the guidance of a Pastor Ashley Straker. You've done that consistently. Having heard the word emerge last Sunday, there was no better week than this week to launch Studio 5. So it's on that basis I congratulate all the Young Genius leaders, the alumni, those who've gone through the program. I congratulate you on your soul mobilization efforts this week. So you've got your first 25. That is amazing. When Surrey Quays started, we were not up to 25. So you've got to think about the fact that as a 23-year-old, you now have a budding community of 25 people within the first week. We celebrate these things not just because of the numbers, but of course the numbers are very important. But what I celebrate is the fact that you came to this house as an 18-year-old. You received direction, you received a word, and you received a support system. It is based on that now. You have been called to go and serve the purpose of your generation. And I want to encourage all the leaders who are supporting her, because it is from now we begin to see a new crop of young people troop into the house. So within the next 2 weeks, the Studio 5 community, or whatever you've called your community, will now have a mandate to establish another 200 people over the next 14 days. You are a young woman. Yeah, that's worth celebrating. And you can do it. You most definitely can achieve it. So that's what we're going to be working with. And I love the fact that all of the houses have been active in their mobilization efforts in the run-up to Wild. And the mandate remains very easy. PT has said it, that he wants to see no less than 550 people from this side of the camp brought in for the 26th of March. So you have a message, and I don't want you to dim it down. All right? All the exploits we've celebrated this week, remind me if I've missed any. We've celebrated the Institute program. We've celebrated Kalimanchi. We saw the launch of the community, the 5 community, and everything else. And I want to just dovetail it into this specific scripture, which is what I want to use to encourage the rest of the families right now. Cameroon. I know you've got 145 people registered for your watch party in Cameroon. That is amazing. Under the great leadership of Evangelist Suivan. You don't stop now. You keep going. Multiply those numbers, because as a family, we must ensure that this message reaches those who want to hear it. You know, last night, I came across a woman who, she is one of the leading scholars at universities in the UK, and her specialism, and as I understand it, she has been recruited by pension companies to offer her services to help, in her words, managers transit to leaders. That's her job description, to help pension funds translate people from just being managers to being leaders. And what I celebrate is the fact that she caught wind of the work that you as a family have been doing. So when she saw me last night, she began to say how she'd messaged different organizations because she wanted to reach you and I. So I think it was Pastor Ashley, if you remind me, I think it was Pastor Ashley and I who were stood next to her. And she said, I'm glad that I found you all now. So this morning, I've already received messages showing conversations between her and different people saying, I want to now be involved in the Institute. Now, these are leaders in the pension fund world. Good afternoon, sir. I see you, Pastor Obi. Hello, sir, from the Wealth family. Yeah, so it is amazing to see that the efforts of the family are being seen because there is a light. And have you ever noticed that when you go into a dark room, no matter how dark the room is, if there is one device with a small light, it will light up the room. Have you noticed? That somehow light, irrespective of its size, has the capacity to impose on darkness. And I'm not here preaching darkness as in people are in the world and they're suffering. No, I am here talking about the fact that darkness equates to ignorance. So I'm not surprised that Pastor Zainab and the rest of the young genius leaders, having gone into the suburbs of Surrey, you were telling me of the stories of many young people who repeatedly have said that they just lack a community and they lack leadership. That's the light that we've been given as a family. So I am charging all the houses, Alliance House, as you've now honed in on your enterprise called Kalimanchi, take this light and make it shine brighter. I want to charge the Alpha House, your mandate in business and education, take this light and intensify on it. The Dominion House, what you've been given through Identity Create and your health and fitness business, take this light and intensify on it. Look at your ability to mobilize the number of people you did last night within a couple of days. It is just a testament of the house you belong to. How many times Pastor Toby will come up, what we call last minute in the world. PT will come up and say, we have an event next week, and we'll see 2,000 people turn up. So we are just demonstrating the fruit of where we come from. It's on that basis I want to encourage the Institute and the other families attached. We have a 3,000 people mandate to fulfill. So the call centers, the campaign offices that have been running through this week, we are on a 14-day countdown. Everybody keyed in, locked in for the next 14 days to make sure we fulfill our mandate. So Pastor Obi, who of course is the mobilizer for the event, as you've seen, is tuned in. We're all canvassing as a family now, rallying for the Wild event. That's my sole focus, to ensure that this light reaches the corners of the world that remain ignorant. You know, I got messages this morning saying the event last night was beyond food. Beyond food. I love it. So the Calibao launch, and I love the fact that a Pastor Kumi could say this campaign is based on wild. I love that your business is not just being run as a separate entity. It is actually driving a focus to the message that helped you blossom. So many of the people that I came across yesterday, I believe there are some of your celebrities. I didn't even know who was who. I just walked in and said hello to everyone. And when they asked me, so how do you know these people? And I began to tell the story of the family. And I said, I was there from the start. When people heard that story, they were magnetized by it. Leaders, it is time to intensify on this light. So I want to read this scripture, Matthew chapter 5. It is one of our staple scriptures in the house. And I want to use that to encourage us as we have this 14-day countdown. So also, congratulations to the Identity Creates team and the Dominion House and everyone who put hands together to launch our campaign video that just launched a couple of minutes ago. Yeah. So after this broadcast, we're going to have that video be posted on our YouTube and I think also on my social media handles, where you will get to see the celebration of women in leadership dimensions as we have our 14-day countdown. Let us go into the scripture very briefly this afternoon, so I'll begin to round up and the rest of the canvassing can carry on for the rest of today and the rest of the next 14 days. Go on.
Matthew chapter 5 and verse 13.
Yeah.
You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again?
I love the fact that this scripture starts with specificity. It's aimed at you. Not your friend. Not your clan. You. I'm talking to you right now. Whoever's on the screen. You are the salt of the earth. Is everything okay with my sound? Please communicate with me. It's all good. Okay. You are the salt of the earth. Alliance House. You are the salt of the earth. Dominion House. The houses, the families attached from the different parts of the world. You are salt. So Christ describes you by how he designed you. Do you know how easy it is that we pick on identities that have been imposed on us by our societies? I am so grateful for the fact that when I arrived to this house, I was not described as a Nigerian man. I wasn't just described as an engineer. I was given the word, you are salt. Take up the microphone and preach to Surrey Keys. My adherence to that simple but powerful instruction was what enabled Surrey Keys to translate into a globally recognized institute that is part of the family. Leaders, please remember this. We did not go looking for Howard University. They found us. They found us. Just like Pastor Toby will say things like, we don't prematurely jump out saying we are going out into the world. No, you stay in your place of service and you function and the world will come to you. I love the next part of this scripture. It refers to the fact that you are light. It then says, a city set on a hill cannot be hidden. The last time you checked, are cities movable? Please check. Do you see cities get in a car? Has anyone noticed that London City just got tired one day and said, I'm tired of being in the UK. Let me hop over to Germany and say hello to Hamburg. Has anyone seen cities uproot themselves? There was a reason why Christ tied your light with the fact that people come to you. Cities are visited. Cities are not in agitated states where they have to go out and prove a point. So when it says that a city set on a hill cannot be hidden, the Institute, which is this broadcast platform that I'm on today, you represent a city that cannot be hidden. That is why globally recognized brands will come for you. Global institutions will come after you because you have something of value for them. You are salt. You are light. It is on that basis I want to encourage you to emerge. And we read the definition of emerge amongst the leaders the rest of this week. I'll just simplify it. To emerge means to rise from a state of depression or obscurity. Depression is not just a mental state. Depression is operating below your optimal level. So many of us who've been designed to function as Ferraris are driving like MGs or Ford Focuses. No disrespect to you if your car is a Ford Focus. I once drove a Citroen, so I'm not mocking you. In fact, I drove it was not quite green. It was a very interesting color Citroen. Who was here back then? Like brown, greenish. Yeah, so Pastor Shad and them. Don't operate at a depressed level when you've got access to a word like this. So to all the leaders in the different houses, I see you. Good afternoon. From Cameroon, I see all of you in Dubai. Rise from a depressed state of operation. Embody the optimal level of design that God had for you, which is salt, not of your locality, not salt of the production space alone, salt of the earth. You must now own that call with confidence. You are the light of the world. Do you want to read other translations for me or what else? Go on. Message. Read the message for me.
Let me tell you why you are here.
Yes.
You're here to be salt seasoning that brings out the God flavors of this earth.
I love the fact that it says, let me tell you why you are here. So you are on this broadcast for a reason as we begin to round up. You're here to demonstrate God flavors. So Pastor Zainab, the testimonies of the young people that you've impacted, the 25 you came across, many of them lack direction. So they will latch on to the easily available, which is social media. Whereas you are their true influencer because you carry a word and you have true impact. You can show your proof and track record over the last 5 years. How you've not only evolved in leadership, you've grown in your ability to mobilize finances, to establish people, and to serve. People will follow that. So you are here because you are to bring out the God flavors. What else?
Of this earth.
Yeah.
If you lose your saltiness, how will people taste godliness?
Yes, keep
You've
going.
lost your usefulness and will end up
The garbage.
No, keep going. The light message version.
Here's another way to put it.
Yeah.
You're here to be light, bringing out the God colors in the world. God
is not a secret to be kept. We're going public with this.
I love this. It says we are going public with this. There's no more obscurity. That's why it says emergence is rising from a state of depression or obscurity. It is time to go public. So we are going public with this now. Every leader with their hands to the plow and one focus. And our focus is to take this message, the God flavors and the God colors, out to the world. And I've been receiving non-stop messages from not just yesterday, but the rest of this week. It shows that we have something of great value to offer to the world. So as I come off this broadcast, what we are going to carry on doing is the canvassing that we've been operating through this week. The 14-day countdown is not just something for fancy. When we show our video after this broadcast and you go online and you watch it, it's not just a fanciful broadcast. It's not just something to look at and say, oh, it's an amazing video. Well done, Identity Creates. No. It is the propagation, is going public with the message of a Toyo. Having battled mental illness. Do you want to turn that off? Having battled mental illness to now being a source of inspiration to people in the creative space. You would look at the stories of Apostle Victoria, having battled depression and suicidal thoughts. Now an established leader of a house, serving as the leader of protocol for the family. And you are a woman. And these are the stories that we must take going forward for the next 14 days. Are you ready to canvas for the next 14 days? Yes. I need to see this now. So when we show the videos and we see that everybody's active, I'm also active. Every day speaking to new souls on my phone. Every day. If it's not on Instagram, if it's text messages. If it's not text messages, it is physical meetings. There are times where the conversion of a cold lead to a hot lead is, or actually not just is the translation, it requires physical meetings. It requires effort. So no one can be docile in this regard. You know, one of my favorite scriptures that I speak to the leaders about is that someone who is passive is brother to the destroyer, as it says in Proverbs. So I trust that there will be no passive members of the family this week. Are you all ready to execute for the next 14 days? Yes, sir. Okay, so let's start by liking and spreading the message of our campaign video that we just launched. I thought that video was very well done. So take that, paste it all over social media. Also, there is an email that will be launched within the next couple of minutes, reminding us about registration for the Wild event. Okay, so an email will be coming up shortly. And then finally, Pastor Toby will be on at 2:30 p.m. this afternoon. So make sure you tune in wherever you're watching from on the Nation Family platform. And I trust that you'll find it very useful, all right? I love you all very much. I trust you found this broadcast inspiring. We thought to end within an hour. So well done to the team this week, or your efforts. I know Pastor Ashley Straker, you've not slept. I know many of you have barely slept, but it has been a week of real exploits and it's been truly inspiring. Do not slow down. Joel, I see you also with Gaming Nation. Joel, you see with Gaming Nation now, that is also a platform to lead community. And there are many young people that will actually benefit from being a part of that community. So Gaming Nation must also take up that mandate. It is so great to see a woman in gaming, like a Joelle. So you take that mandate now and you can lead on it. Don't dull your light at all for anybody. Go public with it. Okay? So every leader, take up your position, take up the mandate, push, and let us make sure that the 26th of March remains the most impactful day ever. I love you all very much, and I'll see you all soon. God bless you. Thank you.
Throughout history, women have faced numerous obstacles and challenges in their quest for leadership. From the denial of education and voting rights, to the persistence of gender-based violence and discrimination, the road to the attainment of leadership has been long and arduous. But despite these challenges, women have continued to break barriers and make progress in every sphere of society. In the early 20th century, women began to organize and fight for their rights. The suffrage movement, led by the fearless women like Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, paved the way for women's right to vote. As women gained more rights and opportunities, they began to break into previously male-dominated fields. In the 1960s and 1970s, women poured into the workforce in record numbers, challenging traditional gender roles and proving that they were capable of success in any field. Today, women hold a wide variety of leadership positions, from CEOs to economists, and are breaking barriers in industries such as science, politics, creativity, education, finance, and technology. Despite the challenges faced throughout the years, women continue to push forward, inspiring future generations and affecting change. Through their fight, women are transforming society, breaking down barriers and creating a world where everyone has the opportunity to succeed. The evolution of women in society is a story of resilience, determination, and progress to inspire and influence future generations to join the fight and strive to become the world's next leaders.
Being a woman in 2023 for me is all about
living out of your mind, actually facing challenges head on.
To just embrace her own self.
To be unique. Find something that's different and sell that and be proud of that.
you're not limited to anything. that you will persevere regardless of what you're facing. I think we're in an age where being a woman, you have so many options and opportunities around you that you just kind of have to go for it.
So to be a woman in 2023 means that you have complete confidence in who you are, your uniqueness, and what you have to bring to the table.
It means to me to have a strong sense of identity. Like you said before, I'm a wife, I'm a business owner, and I'm a mother.
Really pushing the boundaries. I think this generation, we've had more rights for women than we've ever had, ever.
To be a woman in my industry, it means that you're constantly having to push boundaries. You're constantly having to prove yourself. Or I would walk into rooms where I would be the only female, the youngest person in the room, and have these people not acknowledge me, not even look at me in the eye.
Challenge I faced as a woman and how I overcame it. I would say believing in myself and pushing myself or putting myself out there when it comes to advancing myself in my career. Just being a little bit bolder and just seeing what I want to become and just going for it.
The biggest fight I had to overcome was fear. Fear is something that I had to constantly keep fighting. Fear has different dimensions, fear has different layers to it. So you have to always make sure that you're facing what is uncomfortable for you. It helps me to know what I need to do better.
It's a lot. When people list out the amount of things I do, sometimes I don't even know how many things I do in a day. But one thing that keeps me going is just having like a structure in my day. Because if I don't have that, that kind of throws me off. But yeah, it's a lot. My kids can be a lot, but I love them dearly. Just knowing how to balance everything, knowing how to have time for everything as well. Because sometimes doing business, you can get so sucked into doing business, especially when you're just like, it needs to go bigger, it needs to be out there. But then you have the kids to think about and thinking about their learning and thinking about how much they're growing and how much you don't want to miss from their growth.
I've been through an identity crisis before. I was a project manager and then I realized that I didn't want to do that anymore. So I went through like this journey of being really unsure about myself and what I wanted to do. But I think going on that journey, I discovered who I was and I discovered what I wanted to do.
I remember going to lunch with my mentor and he was actually like, what do you want to do, Ado? And I was like, I don't know. And then he said that was the best place to be. And I think that was the best advice he could have given me because I learned the things I hated, I learned the things I liked. That was basically how Identity Creates was birthed. The name is being birthed from an identity crisis.
Yeah. I would say life starts at the end of an identity crisis.
100%.
Yeah.
So to be honest with you, I failed at so many different things. When I fail, it makes you feel inadequate, it makes you feel lonely, and sometimes it actually gets to a place where you start to look at other people and you feel jealous. But it's just knowing that regardless of what has happened, it's getting yourself out of that emotional state and pushing forward and just actually getting on with it until you actually, get it right. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Some of the challenges I faced as a leader, I think in the line of work that I'm in, definitely the underestimation of age, the fact that I'm a female. I thought it was a challenge when I was younger, and now I'm older, I see it as an advantage.
I would say the biggest fight I've had to overcome is myself. Being courageous enough to really go for my vision. And I think what's helped me really grow is having the right type of people around me, pushing me and helping me really believe in what I believe in. I think that's the biggest fight that I've had to really deal with.